If you're planning on using deck blocks like TuffBlock here, you'll need to figure out how many you'll need, how best to use them, and how to arrange them in various applications. We're going to run through 4 typical methods of building a deck using deck blocks, take you through the materials you'll need, and explain some of the decisions you might need to make during your planning process. So quickly, what is TuffBlock? TuffBlock is a deck block with a smart design that has 2 slots for your joists for 1.5 and 2-inch sizing, as well as 2 slots for your upright posts for both 3.5 and 4-inch cuts. It's incredibly strong, made from 100% recycled plastic, and its base just sits 2 inches from the ground, making it ideal for ultra-low profile decks. The 4 deck types you'll typically see built using deck blocks are low profile decks, also known as ground level decks, raised decks, intermediary decks where deck blocks are used in combination with in-ground concrete, and finally, variable height decks if you're building on a slope. Let's run through the step-by-step process showing how it all comes together. Start by measuring out the dimensions of your deck. In this case, we're demonstrating a 12 by 24 foot deck, but yours will most likely differ. If you're building on grass, you'll want to remove the topsoil and compact the earth with a tamper or compactor. We've laid down 5 rows of paver base where the blocks will sit, which helps with shifting ground and drainage. Next, our outer frame goes down, ensuring that TuffBlock is completely level. As you can see with these end joists, there's a slight overhang, which will allow us to hide the TuffBlocks under the deck. Each end joist has joist hangers already attached at 16-inch centers. So as we place down our cross joists, they're spaced at the correct distance. As you can see, the overhang is braced using blocking that keeps the outer section firmly supported. And finally, the decking boards are laid down. For the raised deck, the biggest difference is that we're using bearers beneath our joists. We have 6 bearers, each requiring 3 TuffBlocks, and the posts are checked in so that the weight of the bearer is supported by the post itself and not just the hardware. In this case, the bearers are spaced 4 feet apart, but check the span tables for the lumber you're using to see how far apart your joist supports can be spaced for the size of joist you're using. Another note is that by using bearers, it significantly reduces the number of TuffBlocks we're using, from 35 down to 18. We then fix down our joists at 16-inch centers, which is the correct spacing to support our deck boards. When using in-ground concrete, you can choose to support the deck in just the corners, or, like we've done here, space them throughout the deck. By using TuffBlock as an intermediary, we've greatly reduced the number of concrete holes down from 18 to just 8. This solution works great for creating a permanent structure while saving time on site digging holes and filling them with concrete. And lastly, we have our variable height deck built on a slope. We have an extensive step-by-step for this type of build, which you can watch by clicking the link either above me or in the description, but here's a quick rundown. The first step is to create rows of compacted paver base like before, but this time the ground will need to be leveled out for each row so the TuffBlocks themselves are sitting flat. It's important to not build up under the blocks to level them, as this will not ensure a long-lasting and sustainable base. We first lay down the outer joist to get our height, and with the level, make sure we're completely level. Next, our end joists are attached with joist hangers spaced at 16-inch centers. The joists are supported with checked-in posts at 4-foot intervals. Again, these could be further apart depending on the lumber you're using, and in most cases, you can go up to 5 feet. This process is repeated for our remaining joists, which are then bridged for additional support. And similar to the ground level deck, we've added our additional outer joist to hide the TuffBlocks under the deck. This top-down angle gives you a clearer view of how the joists are spaced apart, and based on what we've shared here, we hope you can easily calculate all the materials you would need. Just to be doubly sure, we do have a deck calculator on our website, which you can find linked in the description below. So, those are the 4 main types of deck we typically see built using deck blocks. Of course, there are numerous applications for TuffBlock beyond decks. For example, this shed where it was used as a foundation, or this walkway to the front of a home where the owners didn't want to disturb the roots of their mature vegetation. So, use your imagination and go out there and get building. Build on.